I discovered the truth about my life, because my mother forgot her cleaning gloves in someone else's house. If she hadn't gone back to get them, if I hadn't gone with her, if one door hadn't been left slightly open, I would still be living inside a lie that was told to me my entire life. A simple lie. A quiet lie. A lie meant to protect me. My mother cleaned houses for 20 years. Rich houses. Silent houses. Houses where people never asked her name. And in one of those houses, hidden behind a white door and a wall full of photographs, was the secret of who I really was. Before I tell you what I saw in that room, let me ask you something. Have you ever found out something about your family that changed everything you thought you knew? If you love emotional stories about family, hidden pasts, and life-changing secrets, please like, share, and subscribe to The Spoken Pen. And don't forget to write in the comments which part of the world you are watching from. Your support means more than you know. Now let me tell you how my life really began. My name is Sophia Reyes. I am 24 years old, and for most of my life, I believed I was ordinary. Not special. Not important. Just the daughter of a tired woman who worked too hard and slept too little. My mother's name is Rosa Reyes. She is small, quiet, and strong in the way people become strong when life doesn't give them a choice. She has cleaned houses for as long as I can remember. When I was a child, I thought all mothers left home before sunrise and came back after dark with sore hands and the smell of cleaning soap on their clothes. I thought it was normal for a mother to fall asleep on the couch with her shoes still on. I thought it was normal to hear, maybe next month, whenever I asked for something extra. We lived in a small apartment in Queens. 2 rooms. Thin walls. A window that faced another building so close it blocked most of the sunlight. But my mother made it feel warm. She packed my lunch every morning. She helped me with homework even when her eyes were heavy. She came to my school events still wearing her cleaning uniform, sitting in the back so no one would notice how tired she looked. She never complained. Not once. I never knew my father. When I asked about him, my mother always gave the same answer. He was a good man. He just couldn't stay. No name. No photo. No story. Just those words and a gentle change of subject. As I grew older, I stopped asking. Some questions don't bring answers. They only bring pain. By the time I was in college, I was working part-time at a small store and studying business. I wanted a better life. Not a rich life. Just a life where my mother didn't have to wake up before the sun to clean other people's homes. Over the years, she worked for many families. But there was one house she had cleaned for almost 10 years. The Whitmore house. It was in a quiet, expensive neighborhood in Long Island. Big trees. Wide streets. Perfect lawns. The kind of place where everything looks peaceful, even if it isn't. The house was large and beautiful. 2 floors. White walls. A garden in the back. It looked like something from a magazine. Mrs. Evelyn Whitmore owned it. A widow, my mother said. Very private. Very polite. Very lonely. She doesn't talk much, my mother once told me. But she always thanks me. That's enough. Sometimes, on weekends, I went with my mom and waited in the car, or helped her carry her supplies. I had seen the house many times, but I had never been inside. Why can't I come in? I asked her once. It's not our place, she said softly. We work. We don't get comfortable. That was my mother. Always careful. Always respectful. Always keeping distance from other people's lives. Then one Saturday evening, everything changed. We were halfway home, when my mother suddenly went quiet and touched her pockets. My gloves, she said. What? I asked. My cleaning gloves. I left them at the Whitmore house. She sighed, tired and angry at herself. I need them for Monday. We have to go back. I'll come with you, I said. You look exhausted. She smiled a little. Okay. Just for a minute. The sun was starting to set when we arrived. The house looked even bigger in the evening light. Quieter. Almost empty. My mother unlocked the door and stepped inside. Wait here, she said. I'll be quick. I'll help you look, I said, already walking in. She hesitated, then nodded. Fine. But don't touch anything. Inside, the house felt cold and perfect. Everything was clean. Everything was in its place. It didn't feel like a home. It felt like a place where no one really lived anymore. We looked in the kitchen. No gloves. The laundry room. Nothing. The living room. Still nothing. They might be upstairs, my mother said. She went up the stairs, and I followed. Most of the doors upstairs were open. Neat rooms. Quiet rooms. Empty rooms. Then I saw one door at the end of the hall. It was closed. That's strange, I said. Do you clean that room? My mother stopped walking. No, she said quickly. Don't worry about that room. Her voice sounded tight. Different. Why not? I asked. She asked me not to go in there, my mother said. That's all. She turned away and went into another room. I don't know why, but my feet carried me toward that door. I didn't plan to open it. I just wanted to look. When I reached it, I noticed it wasn't fully closed. It was slightly open. Just a little. I pushed it gently. The door opened without a sound. Inside was a child's bedroom. A girl's bedroom. A small bed. Shelves full of toys. Books on a desk. Everything clean, but untouched for years. And then I saw the wall. It was covered in photographs. All of the same girl. At different ages. A baby. A toddler. A little girl missing a tooth. A teenager in a school uniform. My heart stopped. Because that girl was me. I stepped closer, my hands shaking. There was no mistake. My face. My eyes. My smile. In one photo, I was holding a blue stuffed bear I remembered from childhood. In another, I was standing outside my school. I felt dizzy. How is this possible? I whispered. Behind me, I heard my mother gasp. Sophia. I turned around. She was standing in the doorway, her face pale, her eyes full of fear. You weren't supposed to see this, she said. My voice shook. Mom, why are there pictures of me in this house? Tears filled her eyes. She walked in slowly and sat on the edge of the small bed. I wanted to protect you, she said quietly. I wanted you to have a normal life. From what? I asked. She looked at me, and in that moment she looked older than I had ever seen her. From the truth. My heart was pounding. What truth? She took a deep breath and said the words that changed everything. The woman who owns this house is your grandmother. I stared at her. That's not possible, I said. She nodded. It is. My legs felt weak. Then, who is my father? I asked. She closed her eyes. And when she opened them, she said. He lives here too. The words stayed in the air between us like they didn't want to fall. He lives here too. I stared at my mother, waiting for her to laugh and say this was some kind of bad joke. But she didn't laugh. She looked at the floor like she couldn't even face her own words. You mean, my father lives in this house? I asked. She nodded slowly. Yes. My heart started beating so hard I could feel it in my throat. Then where is he? I asked. Why has he never been in my life? Why did you never tell me? She stood up and walked to the window, her back to me. Because it wasn't supposed to be this way, she said. And because I was afraid. Afraid of what? I asked. She turned around, and I saw tears on her face. Afraid of losing you. That didn't make sense. Mom, I'm already here. You didn't lose me. She shook her head. You don't understand. If I had told the truth, everything could have been taken away from me. Including you. I looked around the room again. The small bed. The toys. The photos of me growing up from far away. So, she watched me. I asked quietly. All these years? My mother nodded. Yes. Without me knowing. Yes. My chest felt tight. Why? I whispered. Why would my own grandmother watch me grow up like a stranger? My mother walked back to the bed and sat down again. Because she didn't know how to be part of your life, she said. And because your father wouldn't let her. That was when fear really started to creep into my heart. What do you mean, he wouldn't let her? My mother looked at the door, then back at me. We shouldn't be here, she said. He could come home at any moment. My stomach dropped. He lives here, right now. Yes. Does he know I'm here? I asked. She shook her head quickly. No. He doesn't know you're here. And he doesn't know you know the truth. Does he even know I exist? I asked. She was quiet for a long moment. Yes, she said softly. He knows you exist. My hands started shaking. Then why did he never come for me? I asked. Why did he never try to see me? To talk to me? Tears rolled down my mother's face. Because he didn't want you, she said. Those words hurt more than I expected. They're not true, I said. They can't be. I wish they weren't, she said. But this is what happened. I felt like the floor was moving under my feet. Start from the beginning, I said. Please. I need to understand. She took a deep breath and began. 25 years ago, I didn't clean houses. I worked here. In this very house. I looked at her in shock. You worked here? Yes. I was young. I had just come to this country. I didn't have much money. Mrs. Whitmore hired me as a live-in helper. I cooked, I cleaned, I helped with everything. And my father? I asked. He was her son, she said. My heart skipped. So, he grew up here. Yes. This was his home. She looked at the wall of photos again. I met him here. He was kind to me at first. He talked to me. He treated me like a person, not like someone invisible. Her voice became quiet. We fell in love. Or at least, I thought we did. I swallowed. What happened? I got pregnant, she said. The room felt too small to breathe. When I told him, he didn't believe me at first. Then he got angry. He said I was lying. That I was trying to trap him. That's not true, I said quickly. I know, she said. But he didn't want to hear it. She wiped her face. He told his mother. Mrs. Whitmore. She was furious. She said I was trying to destroy their family name. She said I had to leave. But, she kept pictures of me, I said. She kept this room. Yes, my mother said. Because deep inside, she knew the truth. She knew you were her grandchild. But she was afraid of her son. And she was afraid of losing him. So she chose him, I said. Yes, my mother said. She chose him. My chest hurt. What about him? I asked. What did he choose? My mother closed her eyes. He chose his life, she said. His money. His comfort. His future. I felt tears burning in my eyes. So he just let you go? Yes. And he never came back? No. Never asked about me? No. I looked at the photos again. Then why does she have all these pictures? I asked. Why does she know where I went to school? Why does she know what I look like at every age? My mother was quiet. Because I kept working here, she said. I turned to her, shocked. What? After you were born, I had nowhere to go, she said. No family. No money. I needed work. Mrs. Whitmore found me again. She offered me a job cleaning houses. Different houses. Not this one. And you accepted? I asked. I had to, she said. I had a baby to feed. So she kept you close, I said slowly. But not close enough to be part of my life. Yes, my mother said. She asked about you. She asked how you were doing. Sometimes she asked for pictures. And you gave them to her? I asked, my voice shaking. Yes, she said. Because she was the only person from his family who cared at all. My heart was breaking in 1,000 quiet pieces. So she watched me grow up from far away, I said. And my father just lived here, not caring. My mother looked down. He knew about you, she said. But he didn't want to see you. He said it would make things complicated. Complicated for who? I asked. For him, she said. I felt something change inside me. Not just sadness. Anger. Where is he now? I asked. My mother stood up slowly. He should be home soon, she said. We really need to go. No, I said. I'm not leaving. Sophia, she said, using my name the way she did when she was scared. This is not a good idea. My whole life is in this house, I said, pointing at the wall. In these photos. In this room. I deserve to see him. I deserve to hear him say it to my face. She shook her head. He's not a good man, she said. He will only hurt you. He already did, I said quietly. We stood there in silence. Then we heard the sound of a car outside. My mother's face went white. His home, she whispered. My heart started racing. What do I do? I asked. She looked around, panicked. Stay here, she said. Don't make a sound. Let me get your gloves and we'll leave. No, I said. I'm done hiding. Before she could stop me, I walked out of the room and into the hallway. I heard the front door open downstairs. Footsteps. A man's voice. Deep. Calm. Confident. I'm home, Mother. Every part of my body felt like it was on fire. My father was in this house. And in a few seconds, he was going to see me. My heart was beating so loud I was sure everyone in the house could hear it. The footsteps came closer. Slow. Calm. Confident. Each step felt like it was walking straight into my chest. My mother grabbed my arm. "Sophia, please," she whispered. "This is a mistake." I gently pulled my arm away. "My whole life is a mistake," I said. "I'm tired of not knowing why." The footsteps stopped at the bottom of the stairs. Then I heard his voice again. "Mother. Are you home?" Mrs. Whitmore's voice answered from somewhere downstairs. "Yes. I'm in the living room." There was a short pause. "And the cleaner?" he asked. My mother's face went pale. "Yes," Mrs. Whitmore said carefully. "She's here." My stomach turned. He knew she was here. That meant he could walk upstairs at any moment. And then he would see me. I stood in the hallway, my hands shaking, trying to breathe. My mother stood behind me, silent, afraid. Then he appeared at the top of the stairs. He was tall. Well-dressed. Calm. The kind of man who looks like he belongs in expensive places. He looked at my mother first. Then his eyes moved to me. And he froze. For a moment, no one spoke. His face changed slowly, like he was looking at a ghost. He stared at me. I stared back. I saw my own eyes in his face. The same shape. The same color. He swallowed. "Who is that?" he asked quietly. My mother couldn't speak. So I did. "My name is Sophia," I said. "I think you already know who I am." He looked at my mother. Then back at me. His jaw tightened. "This isn't funny," he said. "What is she doing here?" My chest burned. "I'm not a joke," I said. "And I'm not here by accident." He took a step back, like he needed space. "Mother," he called. Mrs. Whitmore appeared behind him at the stairs. She looked at me. And her eyes filled with tears. "Sophia," she whispered. He turned to her. "What is going on?" he asked sharply. She didn't answer him right away. She looked at me. Then at my mother. Then back at her son. "You know what is going on," she said softly. "No," he said. "I don't." "Yes, you do," she said. "You've always known." He shook his head. "This was over a long time ago," he said. "She left. That was her choice." "That's not true," my mother said, finding her voice. "You told me to leave." He looked at her coldly. "I told you the truth," he said. "That child was not my problem." My hands curled into fists. "Look at me," I said. He didn't want to. "Look at me," I said again, louder. Slowly, he did. His eyes moved over my face. And I saw something change. Fear. Not anger. Not pride. Fear. "You look just like him when he was young," Mrs. Whitmore said softly. "She looks just like you." He looked away. "This doesn't prove anything," he said. "It proves everything," she said. The room felt heavy. I took a step forward. "Did you know about me?" I asked. He was quiet. "Answer me," I said. "Yes," he said finally. "I knew." My heart broke a little more. "Did you ever want to see me?" I asked. He didn't answer right away. "No," he said. The word hit me like a slap. "Why?" I asked. "Because you would have complicated my life," he said. "Because this was a mistake that should have stayed in the past." I felt tears in my eyes, but I didn't let them fall. I'm not a mistake, I said. He looked at me. You shouldn't be here, he said. I laughed softly, but there was no happiness in it. Funny, I said. That's what you said about me before I was even born. Mrs. Whitmore stepped forward. Enough, she said. This is your daughter. He looked at her. And, he said. And you will speak to her with respect, she said. Whether you like it or not. He was silent. I looked at him. I didn't come here to ask for money, I said. Or a house. Or your name. I came here because my whole life, I didn't know who I was. And now I do. He crossed his arms. And what do you want from me? He asked. The truth, I said. Why did you really walk away? He looked at my mother. Then at his own mother. Then back at me. Because I was weak, he said. Because I was young. And because I didn't want to ruin my future. My mother looked down. And you ruined mine instead, she said quietly. He didn't answer her. I took a deep breath. I grew up watching my mother break her back cleaning houses, I said. While you lived here. In this house. With everything. He didn't speak. You don't get to tell me I don't belong here, I said. Because whether you like it or not, your blood is in me. He looked at me for a long moment. Then he said something I will never forget. You may be my blood, he said. But you are not my family. That was when my mother started crying. And that was when Mrs. Whitmore lost her calm. She walked up to her son and slapped him. The sound was sharp in the quiet house. How dare you, she said. I watched this girl grow up in photographs. I watched her suffer from a distance. And you sit here and act like she is nothing. He looked at her, shocked. You kept her away, he said. No, she said. You did. Silence filled the room. I felt tired. So tired. I didn't come here to beg you to love me, I said. I just wanted to see your face when you said you didn't. He looked at me. And for the first time, he looked uncomfortable. You've said it, I said. So now I know. I turned to my mother. Let's go, I said. She nodded, tears still falling. As we walked toward the door, Mrs. Whitmore called my name. Sophia, she said. I turned. I'm sorry, she said. I should have done more. I should have been braver. I looked at her. You kept my pictures, I said. That means something. She nodded, crying. Please, she said. Don't disappear from my life. I looked at my mother. Then back at her. We'll see, I said. And then we left. Outside, the air felt cold and heavy. My mother held my hand like she did when I was a child. I'm sorry, she said again and again. I know, I said. But inside, something was broken. And something else had just begun. Because as painful as that meeting was, I knew this was not the end of the story. It was only the beginning. We didn't talk much on the way home. The city lights passed by the window, blurry and far away. My mother kept both hands on the steering wheel like she was afraid to let go. I stared out at the dark streets and tried to understand how my life had changed in just one evening. I had a face now. A name. A man who shared my blood and wanted nothing to do with me. Somehow, that hurt more than not knowing at all. When we got home, my mother made tea even though neither of us wanted it. She sat at the small kitchen table and watched the steam rise, like it was the only thing keeping her calm. I never wanted you to hear it from him like that, she said quietly. I'm glad I did, I answered. At least now I know the truth. She nodded, but her eyes were full of guilt. I should have told you earlier, she said. I was just afraid. I know, I said. You were trying to protect me. But protection can feel a lot like silence. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw his face. The way he looked at me. The way he said I was not his family. I kept thinking about the room. The photos. The toys. About Mrs. Whitmore watching my life from a distance like a story she wasn't allowed to touch. About him living in that big house while my mother worked herself to the bone. Something inside me changed. Not into hate. Into questions. A few days later, my phone rang while I was at work. It was a number I didn't know. Hello. I said. Is this Sophia Reyes? A woman asked. Yes. This is Evelyn Whitmore. My heart skipped. I hope I'm not disturbing you, she said gently. I was hoping we could talk. I hesitated. I don't think your son wants me calling, I said. This isn't about him, she said. This is about us. And your mother. I was quiet for a moment. Okay, I said. We can talk. Could you come by the house tomorrow? She asked. Just you. If you're comfortable. I didn't answer right away. Part of me wanted to say no. Part of me wanted to never see that house again. But another part of me wanted answers. I'll come, I said. The next day, I stood in front of the Whitmore house alone. It looked the same. Perfect. Quiet. Cold. Mrs. Whitmore opened the door herself. She looked older than I remembered. Smaller. Tired. Thank you for coming, she said. She led me into the living room and offered me tea. I noticed something strange. There were no photos of her son anywhere I could see. Only landscapes. Only empty rooms. He moved out, she said, noticing my eyes. He didn't like what I said to him after you left. What did you say? I asked. I told him he was wrong, she said. And that for once in his life, he should be ashamed. We sat in silence for a moment. I want you to know something, she said. I never stopped thinking about you. Not for one day. I saw the pictures, I said. She nodded. I asked your mother for them. I wanted to see you grow. I wanted to know you were okay. Why didn't you come to see me? I asked. She looked down. Because I was a coward, she said. Because I chose peace in this house instead of doing what was right. That honesty surprised me. I can't change the past, she said. But I don't want to lose more time. She reached into a drawer and pulled out a small box. This is yours, she said. I opened it. Inside were letters. Old letters. All written by my mother. My hands started shaking. She wrote to him. I asked. Yes, Mrs. Whitmore said. Many times. He never read them. Why? I asked. Because I hid them, she said. I looked up at her, shocked. You hid them? She nodded slowly. I was afraid, she said. Afraid he would leave. Afraid he would choose you and your mother over me. Afraid of being alone. My chest felt tight. So, he never even knew she tried. No, she said. He thought she disappeared. That she never wanted contact. I sat back, stunned. You took that choice from all of us, I said quietly. I know, she said, tears in her eyes. And I will regret it for the rest of my life. I looked at the letters again. Years of my mother's words. Her pain. Her hope. All trapped in a box. What happens now? I asked. That's up to you, she said. But I want to be part of your life. Not as a secret. Not from a distance. I thought about my mother. About her tired hands. About her quiet strength. If you want to be part of my life, I said, you start by telling her the truth. I will, she said. Today. That evening, Mrs. Whitmore came to our small apartment. She sat at our kitchen table like she didn't belong there. And then she told my mother everything. About the letters. About the fear. About the choices she made. My mother didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just listened. When Mrs. Whitmore finished, my mother said quietly, "You took years from us." "I know," Mrs. Whitmore said. "Why are you here now?" my mother asked. "Because I don't want to die knowing I was a part of this lie," she said. "And because Sophia deserves more than silence." My mother looked at me. I squeezed her hand. "We'll take it one step at a time," I said. That night, after Mrs. Whitmore left, my mother sat next to me on the couch. "Do you hate her?" she asked. "No," I said. "But I don't trust her yet." That was the truth. Trust takes time. And so does healing. But somewhere deep inside me, I felt something changing. The story of my life was no longer just about being left behind. It was becoming something else. Something unfinished. A week passed after Mrs. Whitmore told my mother the truth about the letters. A quiet week. Too quiet. My mother went to work like always. I went to my classes like always. But nothing felt normal anymore. Every small sound felt loud. Every thought felt heavy. The box of letters sat on our small kitchen table like it was waiting for something. Waiting to change another life. One evening, my phone rang again. Unknown number. My heart knew before my mind did. "Hello," I said. "Sophia," a man said. It's me." I didn't need him to say his name. "I want to talk," he said. "Please." I was quiet. "Why now?" I asked. "Because my mother told me everything," he said. "About the letters. About what she did. About what I didn't know." I closed my eyes. "So now you believe me?" I asked. "I never stopped believing," he said. I thought your mother chose to disappear." "She didn't," I said. "She tried. Over and over." "I know that now," he said. "And I can't stop thinking about it." There was a pause. "I don't expect forgiveness," he said. "But I need to see you. And I need to see her." I looked at my mother across the room. She was folding laundry, quiet, tired. "I'll talk to her," I said. "No promises." "Thank you," he said softly. That night, I told my mother about the call. She sat down slowly. "What did he say?" she asked. "He knows about the letters," I said. "He wants to talk." She was quiet for a long time. "I don't know if I have the strength for that," she said. "You don't have to," I said. "Not if you don't want to." She looked at me. "And you?" she asked. "Do you want to see him again?" I thought about his words. "You are not my family." And then I thought about the letters. About the choices taken away. "I want answers," I said. "Not excuses." She nodded slowly. "Then I will go," she said. "For you." 2 days later, we went back to the Whitmore house. This time, it didn't feel like a place of secrets. It felt like a place of waiting. He was already there when we arrived. He stood in the living room, nervous, not sitting, not moving, like he didn't know what to do with his own body. When he saw my mother, his face changed. Not into anger. Not into coldness. Into something like regret. "Rosa," he said quietly. She stopped a few steps away from him. "Don't," she said. "Don't say my name like that." He swallowed. "I'm sorry," he said. She didn't answer. I stood between them, feeling like I was standing between two different lives. Mrs. Whitmore was there too, sitting on the couch, hands folded, silent. He took a deep breath. "My mother showed me the letters," he said. "All of them." My mother looked away. "You should have seen them years ago," she said. "I know," he said. "And I can't change that. But I want you to know something. If I had known you were trying to reach me, if I had known you didn't just leave, I would have looked for you." She looked at him then. "And if you had found me?" she asked. He hesitated. "I don't know," he said honestly. "But I would have tried." That honesty hurt more than a lie. "You had years to try," she said. "Years?" He nodded. "I was afraid," he said. "Afraid of losing my life. Afraid of disappointing my mother. Afraid of being responsible for someone else's future." "And you weren't afraid of ruining mine?" she asked. He had no answer. I stepped forward. "You said I wasn't your family," I said. He looked at me. "I said something cruel," he said. "And I was wrong." "Why?" I asked. "Because you suddenly feel guilty. Because I finally understand what was taken from all of us," he said. "And because when I look at you, I don't just see a mistake. I see time I can never get back." I didn't know what to say to that. "I'm not asking you to call me your father," he said. "I'm not asking you to forgive me. I'm just asking for a chance to not keep running." My mother's hands were shaking. "Do you know what it was like?" she asked. "Raising her alone. Working until my hands hurt. Watching her sleep and wondering if you ever thought about her." He looked at the floor. "Yes," he said. "I do now. And I hate myself for it." Silence filled the room. Then Mrs. Whitmore spoke. "I took your letters," she said to my mother. "I took your choices. And I built this lie. My son lived inside it. And so did you." She looked at him. "You don't get to hide behind my mistakes anymore," she said. "If you want any part of their lives, you earn it." He nodded slowly. "I will," he said. I looked at my mother. She looked at me. In her eyes, I saw fear. And love. And tired hope. "We're not promising anything," she said. "We're not forgetting anything." "I understand," he said. "But," she continued, "we're willing to talk." It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't peace. But it was a door opening. Just a little. And sometimes, that's how everything begins. We didn't become a family that day. We didn't hug. We didn't cry together. We didn't suddenly fix 24 years of silence. We just started talking. At first, it was small things. Short visits. Careful words. Long pauses. My mother and I would go to the Whitmore house once a week. Sometimes we stayed for an hour. Sometimes less. He tried to be polite. He tried to listen. He tried not to say the wrong thing. Sometimes he failed. Sometimes my mother got quiet and cold. Sometimes I left with my heart feeling heavier than when I arrived. But we kept going back. Not because it was easy. Because something inside all of us knew this was unfinished. One afternoon, he asked me if I wanted to see where he worked. I almost said no. But I said yes. His office was in a tall building in the city. Glass walls. Quiet halls. People who looked busy and important. It felt like another world. This is where I spent most of my life, he said. Working. Avoiding everything else. I didn't know what to say to that. We sat in a small cafe near his office after. He looked nervous, like he was waiting for me to ask something hard. So I did. Why did you never have other children? I asked. He looked surprised. Because I didn't trust myself to be a good father, he said. And because part of me always knew I had already failed at that once. That answer stayed with me. My mother, on the other hand, stayed distant. She was polite. Correct. But her walls were high. One evening, after we came home from another visit, she sat at the table and didn't move for a long time. I don't know if I can do this, she said quietly. Do what? I asked. Pretend I'm not angry, she said. Pretend it doesn't still hurt. You don't have to pretend, I said. But I don't want my pain to become your burden, she said. I held her hand. You carried me alone for years, I said. Let me carry some of this now. She smiled sadly. Then something happened that changed everything again. One morning, Mrs. Whitmore called me. My son is in the hospital, she said. My heart jumped. What happened? He collapsed at work, she said. The doctors say it was stress. His heart. I looked at my mother. She was listening. We're coming, I said. At the hospital, he looked smaller in the bed. Not powerful. Not distant. Just human. He saw us and tried to sit up. You didn't have to come, he said. Yes, we did, my mother said quietly. The doctor explained that he needed to slow down. That his body had been under pressure for years. Sometimes, the doctor said, the heart carries more than it should. That night, my mother sat by his bed for a while. They didn't talk much. But she stayed. And that meant something. A few days later, when he was better, he said something unexpected. I want to write my will, he said. And I want you both there when I do. My mother looked at him sharply. Why? She asked. Because I don't want secrets anymore, he said. And because I don't want you to ever doubt that you matter. I felt uncomfortable. This isn't about money, I said. I know, he said. It's about responsibility. A week later, we sat in a lawyer's office. It was strange. So official. So serious. He made sure everything was clear. He didn't leave everything to me. He didn't cut anyone out. He just acknowledged me. By name. As his daughter. That was the first time I heard him say it in front of someone else. Daughter. The word felt heavy. And fragile. After that, things started to change. Slowly. He tried harder. My mother tried to stay open. I tried to stay honest. But healing is not a straight line. One evening, I overheard my mother crying in her room. I'm afraid, she said softly. I'm afraid she'll get hurt again. I stood in the doorway. So am I said. But I don't want to live my life only protecting old wounds. She looked at me. You're braver than me, she said. No, I said. I'm just tired of being afraid. And then, just when things felt like they were finding a new, careful balance, The past came back one more time. In a way none of us expected. It came on a quiet Friday afternoon. I was sitting in our small apartment, trying to study, while my mother was preparing dinner. The air was warm with the smell of garlic and onions, and for a moment, everything felt normal. Then the phone rang. My mother answered. Her voice was polite, careful. But when she hung up, her face had changed. What happened? I asked. She shook her head slowly. It's Mrs. Whitmore. Something happened. I felt a chill. What kind of something? She's gone, my mother whispered. I froze. What do you mean, gone? She had a stroke. At home. The ambulance, they're taking her to the hospital. She asked for me and for Sophia. My heart stopped. I didn't know what to do. My mother looked at me, terrified. We need to go. Now. We rushed into the car, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tight, I thought I'd leave fingerprints in the metal. My mind was racing 1,000 miles an hour. When we arrived at the Whitmore house, it was chaos. Paramedics were moving quickly, taking Mrs. Whitmore out of the front door on a stretcher. Her son, my father, was there. Standing frozen, looking smaller than I'd ever seen him. Not proud. Not calm. Just helpless. He saw me and froze. Sophia, he said softly, his voice shaking. You need to come inside. She asked for you. I walked slowly. Every step felt heavy. Like I was carrying 24 years of secrets with me. Inside the hospital, she was in a private room. Machines beeped softly. Her hand was weak, almost translucent. But when she saw me, her eyes lit up. Sophia, she whispered. I sat by her side. My mother sat beside me, holding my hand. She needs you, my father said quietly. I can't do this alone. I looked at him. For the first time, I saw the man who had abandoned me not as cruel, but as human. Broken. Afraid. And yes, guilty. Mrs. Whitmore reached for my hand. I wanted to protect you, she said. I wanted to protect all of you. But now. I see that hiding the truth only made it worse. I held her hand tightly. We're here now. That's what matters. For hours, we sat together. Talking quietly. Sharing small memories. A picture I had drawn as a child. A book my mother had read to me. And then she whispered something that made my stomach tighten. You're my granddaughter. And I have something to tell you about your father. Something I never told him. Something I never told anyone. I leaned closer. What is it? She looked at him. He nodded slightly, silently giving her permission. When your mother left, Mrs. Whitmore said slowly, I kept track of her letters. I saved every single one. But I never gave them to him. I thought he didn't deserve to know. That he wouldn't care. That he would forget. He swallowed hard. I didn't deserve to know. I thought I was protecting myself. I thought I was protecting everyone. You protected yourself, my mother said softly. And no one else. He looked at me. For a long moment, he didn't speak. And then he said something I will never forget. I don't know if you can forgive me. I don't know if I deserve it. But I want to try. I want to be part of your life. If you'll let me. I looked at him, at my mother, at Mrs. Whitmore. And for the first time, I felt the weight in my chest begin to lift. I nodded slowly. We'll try, I said. Not easy. Not perfect. Not magical. But the first step. And sometimes, a first step is all it takes to begin a lifetime of healing. The next few weeks were strange. It wasn't like our lives suddenly became perfect. It wasn't like we all hugged and laughed and forgot the past. No. Healing isn't like that. It was quiet. Small steps. Careful words. Awkward silences. I would visit my father at his apartment. My mother would come sometimes she stayed home. Mrs. Whitmore occasionally called to check on us. The first few visits, I didn't even speak much. I watched him. Watched the way he moved. Watched the way he looked at me. There was guilt in his eyes. Sadness. Regret. And a longing that made my heart ache in ways I couldn't explain. One evening, after dinner, he handed me a small box. I want you to have this, he said. I opened it carefully. Inside was a photo album. It wasn't old. Not like the ones in the Whitmore house. These were new. Pictures of him. Pictures of our city. Pictures of small moments I had missed. I wanted to remember the parts one wasn't there for, he said. I flipped through the album slowly. Every page made my chest tight. Every picture whispered, I am trying. Why now? I asked quietly. Because I can't change the past, he said. But I can try to be here now. I looked at my mother, sitting quietly on the couch, her hands folded. Her eyes were cautious, but they softened when they met mine. You'll need to be patient, she said softly. He's learning, just like we all are. I nodded. I will try. The next breakthrough came unexpectedly. It was a rainy afternoon. I had stayed home from class to help my mother with some cleaning. She laughed, a soft, tired laugh, when she saw me slip on the wet floor while mopping. The phone rang. My father's voice, hesitant. Can I come by, he asked. I hesitated. And then I said yes. When he arrived, he stood awkwardly in the doorway, holding a small paper bag. For you, he said. I opened it. Inside was a small bracelet. Simple, silver, with my initials engraved. I wanted you to have something from me, he said. Something that belongs to both of us. I stared at it. My eyes filled with tears, but I didn't take them yet. Thank you, I said softly. It's beautiful. He nodded, unsure what else to say. We sat together in the living room, the rain tapping against the window. Neither of us spoke for a long time. Then he said quietly, Do you forgive me? I looked at him. Really looked at him. At the man who had left, who had stayed away, who had made choices that changed my life. I don't know yet, I said honestly. But I want to try. His shoulders relaxed slightly. Thank you, he said. That afternoon, something shifted. Slowly, carefully. We started to eat meals together. Talk quietly. Laugh at small jokes. Share memories. Memories I never knew existed, and memories I thought I'd never have. My mother watched us. Her hands were folded in her lap. She didn't say much. But when our eyes met, she smiled softly. It wasn't perfect. But it was real. And sometimes, real is enough to start fixing what's been broken. A few weeks later, Mrs. Whitmore came to visit again. I just wanted to see her, she said, looking at me. And see you all, together. I smiled softly. We're trying. You've grown so much, she said. Not just in age, but in strength. Your mother is proud. I'm proud. And his learning. I looked at my father. He nodded slowly. Yes, he said quietly. Learning. That night, I held the bracelet in my hand. My mother slept in her chair beside me, exhausted from work and worry, yet somehow peaceful. And I realized, the past had been cruel. But the present was ours to shape. We couldn't undo the years. We couldn't erase the pain. But maybe, just maybe, we could begin to build something new. Something stronger than fear. Stronger than silence. Something called family. It was a quiet Sunday afternoon. The kind where the light spills in through the windows just enough to make everything feel softer, calmer. We were all in the small living room of my mother's apartment, my mother, me, my father, and even Mrs. Whitmore. The air was heavy with anticipation, as if everyone knew something needed to happen, but didn't know who would speak first. I broke the silence. Why didn't you ever try to find me? I asked my father. He looked down at his hands, twisted together nervously. I thought your mother didn't want me to. I thought you were better off without me. I didn't know what I would do if I found you. I was scared. Scared. I whispered. Scared of what? Losing your comfort. Your life. He flinched at my words, but he didn't deny them. Yes, he said quietly. I made mistakes. I didn't deserve you. I didn't deserve your mother. And I didn't deserve what we lost. My mother spoke for the first time in a long while, her voice calm but firm. You lost the chance to be a father. You lost years with your daughter. You let fear win, and you let pride decide for all of us. He nodded slowly. I know. And I can't change that. But I want to do better now. I felt tears prickle my eyes. 24 years of wondering, waiting, feeling incomplete, and now, here he was, sitting in the same room, admitting everything. Mrs. Whitmore finally spoke. Sophia, your father's fear was real. But so was your mother's strength. And so was mine. We all made choices. Some of them wrong. But you are the bridge between all of us now. I swallowed hard. A bridge? Yes, she said. You have the chance to bring us together. To stop the past from controlling the future. I looked at my father. For the first time, I saw him not as a man who abandoned me, but as someone human, someone who had failed, yes, but who was now willing to try. Can we start over? He asked softly. I hesitated. The anger and hurt I had carried all my life pressed against my chest. But then I remembered the bracelet he had given me. The photos. The small steps he had taken. Yes, I said quietly. But we take it slow. And you have to understand, trust takes time. He nodded, relief flooding his face. And then, the most surprising moment happened. My mother, who had been quiet the entire time, reached out and took his hand. I don't know if I can ever forgive completely, she said softly. But I can try. For Sophia. He looked at her, a mixture of hope and remorse in his eyes. I will do whatever it takes. I realized then that healing isn't about forgetting. It isn't about pretending the past didn't hurt. It's about choosing to move forward anyway. And in that moment, with my mother beside me, my father finally admitting his mistakes, and Mrs. Whitmore silently watching, I felt something I had never felt before: hope. Hope that maybe our family could finally be whole. Hope that the years lost didn't have to define the years to come. And hope that love, quiet, messy, imperfect love, could heal even the deepest wounds. The weeks that followed were quiet, but different. Not perfect. Not easy. But different. We began to rebuild, slowly, carefully. My father started coming to our apartment more often. He helped with groceries. He sat with my mother while she cooked. Sometimes he even helped me with schoolwork. The first time he hugged me, it was awkward. Stiff. But it was real. And that's all that mattered. My mother, who had carried so many burdens alone, began to smile more. Not the tired, careful smile she gave when people thanked her for cleaning, but the kind that came from her heart. Mrs. Whitmore visited occasionally. She would bring tea, or a small cake, or just sit quietly in the corner. Her presence reminded us that even those who had made mistakes could be part of our lives if we let them. One afternoon, as I was organizing the old letters my mother had kept, I realized something. The past wasn't gone. It never would be. But the past no longer controlled us. We could take it, all the hurt, all the lost years, and use it to build something stronger. And that's exactly what we did. My father started telling me stories about his childhood. Stories he had never shared. Stories of dreams, fears, and mistakes. My mother shared hers too, about her life before me, about the struggles she had faced. And I told them about my own life, my small victories, my dreams, and my fears. We laughed. We cried. Sometimes we argued. But always, always, we spoke. The bracelet he had given me became a symbol of the bond we were slowly forming. I wore it every day, a reminder that even broken beginnings could lead to new stories. Months passed. One evening, as the sun was setting, painting the city in gold and pink, my mother, father, and I sat together on our small balcony. The air smelled of rain and hope. I never thought this day would come, my mother said softly. Neither did I, my father admitted. I smiled. Me neither. But it did. And we're here. Together. We watched the sunset in silence, our hands occasionally brushing, small gestures of connection that spoke louder than words. I thought about the years lost. About the pain and the questions. And then I realized something. Love isn't about never leaving. It's not about never failing. It's about showing up. Even if you're late. Even if you're afraid. Even if you don't know how to fix what's broken. Because sometimes, showing up is enough to change everything. My mother looked at me and smiled, a real smile this time. I'm proud of you, she said. I looked at my father. His eyes were glistening. I want to do right by you now, he said softly. I nodded. And in that moment, I knew that despite everything, despite the years of silence and hurt, we had begun to heal. The house where my mother had cleaned for 20 years, the walls that had held secrets and photographs, had finally become a place of connection. And I understood something that I had never known before. Family isn't only about blood. It's about forgiveness. It's about showing up. It's about love. No matter how late. No matter how hard. And that's how we found our way back to each other.